it worth it? Is it for the future? The family. I want more. I want freedom. I'm purpose driven for equality. You're gonna know my name. I'm still the same. Ain't nothing changed. You're gonna know I am good. Respect me and my legacy. And I wish you would Google me, read my story. You're gonna know my name. Is it worth it? Is it for the future? Welcome to the face behind the brand.
Thank you for having me.
Episode 136.
That's a lot of episodes.
Hope everybody is good tonight. I'm really excited about tonight's guest. Bay Area native, town business.
Yeah, I mean.
So excited. Welcome, 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 and welcome to the face behind the brand. I am your host, Monique Marie, and you are the incredible music composer, COO and co-founder of OakTownSoul Collective Record Label, gaming master, we cannot forget that, instrumentalist himself, the producer, Clay Xavier.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. I have to bring you in to, of course, an incredible sound that you, of course, have produced. I'm going to play it for everybody if they haven't heard it. This is Wait by the beautiful recording artist, Shante, who is also obviously an artist on the label.
Yo. Just released this past month.
Beautiful, beautiful sound. You got feature artists on there. Blaccwell, is it correct?
Yep.
And of course, this was produced by yourself, mixed and mastered by Shawnisadhd. I'll let it play for a little bit.
Summer vibe.
Yes. So as I said, I won't play it all because I don't want to spoil it for everyone. I need everybody to download this song, stream it, run it up. Again, that was Wait by Shante, featuring Blaccwell, produced, of course, by none other than this amazing guest tonight here, Clay Xavier. How are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Just had dinner. I'm heavy stuff myself, but I'm real chilling. You know, we take Sundays off, so I'm knowing I'm just about to coast in.
Yeah.
Lay down tonight, sleep, get a good rest in tomorrow, and just really chill out. So I'm feeling good.
Well, I'm so thankful that you're feeling good, and again for this incredible opportunity on a Sunday night, on your off night. Wanted to just basically introduce, of course, the entire collective, of course, who you are and where you're from. For those new to, of course, your platform tonight, coming in from the Face Behind the Brands audience, talk to me about OakTownSoul.
Yeah, OakTownSoul. So that's the gang, that's the team. We are a record label. We have been many things. Yeah. We can get into the history of how we got here. But in the past few years, we've been really pursuing and changing and going in the direction of founding an independent record label. And we really just believe strongly in staying in Oakland. Like, we've had the chance, we've had the tickets to go down to LA, to leave, to be there. But it's like, there's so many talented people who are right here.
Right here.
And it's just not enough industry for them to be able to support their career, to go alone, to stay at home and keep the money circulating in our economy, right? So we just decided, you know, it's like, it's the age of the internet. We build our whole platform and our whole brand off of just posting on social media. There's no reason we can't stick and stay put and be able to create something with our homies right here and not have to bend to doing the LA thing.
Absolutely. And we're talking about three of you. Again, yourself, Sean ADHD, and of course, Max Powers. And of course, together you all are, again, Oaktown Soul.
Yep. We are the owners of the crew.
Yes, yes. All producers, engineers, lead production. I mean, just amazing. Instrumentalist. Tell me how long you've been playing, and then when did you all meet each other?
I've been playing a long time. My father was well, I say was, is still currently, a guitarist and bassist. And I grew up, if you can't tell from the complexion, I'm a mixed baby. So I'm a flip of what a lot of people are, which is a lot of people have black dad, white mom. I'm white dad, black mom.
Okay.
So I had a rock and roll dad, long hair, played guitar, you know what I'm saying, country and rock. And I grew up hanging around him, but I never really was into music until I was older, because I didn't realize that I'm just not a guitar guy, not a country or rock guy. But then I got my hands on a Wu-Tang CD, and that's when I knew I really love music, you know what I'm saying? But I started playing saxophone in like the 5th grade. So I guess I must have been like 9, 10, something like that. And I've been playing ever since. And I was just a super nerd in high school who just loved to, in the middle of band class, I would ask to steal everybody else's instrument and try to like hang out and play it for a little bit, you know? So my like hobby is I just like trying to pick up new instruments I'm really interested in, mostly winds, saxophone, flute, clarinet, and some piano too. But like I can't play cello or guitar or bass or none of that stuff. But I'm definitely a super instrument nerd.
What other instruments do you play?
Mostly winds. Like saxophone is my main instrument, or my first instrument, and then I play a lot of piano these days for production. Then behind that, I would say it's flute. And then there's a bunch of instruments that I'm trying to learn right now that I wouldn't really claim. Those are the main three though. But I'm trying to learn and work on a little bit at a time. I'm trying to learn trumpet, harmonica, clarinet, and I just try to pick up a whole bunch of stuff in my spare time whenever I can.
Yeah. Well, who are some of your influences, King? Some of your influencers, like growing up, who were you hearing? Who was your dad playing around the house? Who was mom listening to?
You see, the interesting thing is I really had to, I grew up in a house with musicians, but I really had to go find music for myself.
Really?
So really when I started listening to music really was when I got an iPod when I was a kid, because it was the first time I had the chance to choose, like I get to choose music, because I was already just hanging around my family and they would play stuff. And there was the radio, but it never occurred to me like, I could have a choice to listen to the music. And it's funny, the first song I really had on there was Stevie Wonder, Sir Duke. And so that's lasted like forever. It's just, Stevie is definitely a super top influence. And I went to school for jazz. So I had like a very instrumental soul based on just like people playing instruments background, right? And then you mix that with my love for, like, I found out about Wu-Tang, and I started looking at RZA and how people chop samples. And then I bought a turntable, I bought hella records. And so the records, I got into not only the sampling, but the stuff they were sampling, which was like the 70s soul and old jazz records. And like, I got both sides of it. I was interested in the hip hop and what they were making from it, but also what they were sampling and what they were flipping from back in the day. So it's kind of like a little bit of equal sides of what my influences really are.
I like that. One thing I do notice about you, I would say the entire collective, but what I love about your platform is the education. You know, you always are providing education. You circle back when you just mentioned music theory. I thought about that. So where did you go to school? And obviously, what did you take up music theory, or what did you study?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a mixture of like classically trained and self-taught. Definitely a nerd, definitely did my own research and just hung out in school and whatnot. But I went to Berkeley High, and if you know anything about Berkeley High, they have a crazy jazz program.
Yeah.
And it's super competitive. And so I started really only that in my senior year. I was just in regular band. I was a band geek. I ended up being band president type, like super nerd about the stuff. And used to play bassoon and stuff in high school. And so between that and then I took AP Music Theory then, and then was in the jazz band. So I was already starting in high school. But there's just a small little program out in Berkeley called the California Jazz Conservatory that I went to for some years, but I'm a music school dropout. I dropped out from school to end up building OakTownSoul because it just didn't make sense to me. It's not really a career where you need a degree. You just need to prove that you're good.
Yes.
You need to be able to. So I was like, I'm going to invest in myself and my company instead of a degree to show somebody. Yeah. But yeah, definitely learned a lot from college and school, but also just geeking out and trying to play it and figure it out for myself.
Yeah. We'll talk about it because, you know, part of what OakTownSoul Collective is, the record label, it's obviously about developing artists, but developing the best artists, right? Making them obviously masters like yourself. And so how does one do that? Because, you know, I know you have a lot of people you come across and everyone feels they have talent, right? So how do you select?
Practice and critique. Those are the two things. If you don't know how to accept critique, you're already dead in the water. And if you don't practice, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
So those are the big two. I remember we have a very harsh culture around the studio and the office when it comes to critique, because we just believe we really truly want to be the best, and to be the best, you really have to compare yourself to the best. We have like an 80% rule. We say, like, if you take your top 3 influences or your top 3 idols and your stuff is not 80% as good as theirs, objectively, if you just showed it to somebody, if you say my top dude is Michael Jackson, if your top dude is Michael Jackson and you're not hitting 80%, at least 80% of how good Michael Jackson is, then you gotta, you know, go back to the drawing board and, you know, redo it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I remember when I first met Sean back in the day, I was making beats on a little SP404. I was making like lo-fi stuff, and I came and I thought my stuff was super good. And I came to him when we met, and I was like, yo, I want to play my beats on the radio show, da, da, da. And he said, nah, your shit trash. And I was like, what?
Wait a minute.
And it hurt my feelings. And I was like, nah, he tripping, da, da, da. But then when I really listened to it, and I was like, this isn't as good as these Jay-Z beats. This isn't as good as da-da-da. Like, if I really want to be the best, I got to be humble and understand that that I have so much further to go. Yeah. So that's like the first step, and that's how so many people skip that step, especially in the Bay. We talk to people. It's like there's so much what we like to call like toxic positivity in the Bay, where people think it's good, we like it, but as soon as you walk out of the room, they're like, that shit was weak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you in New York, if your stuff ain't hidden, they gonna let you know straight to your face, right? And so to a certain extent, to get better, you just gotta first off have goals and reference, like, this is how good I am, this is how good the greatest that ever did it are, and then just break it down into chunks and be consistent. But also the other thing is practice. You gotta really want to get better. A lot of people, when it comes to artists, especially like vocalists, when you're talking about singers and just rappers, they think that just their idols were born and they just sounded like that.
Yeah.
Because with an instrument, you have to translate it, right? Like, nobody comes out the womb just knowing how to pick up a guitar and they know how the notes work. You have to pick it up, you have to play with it, you have to figure it out, and you have to translate the stuff that's in your head to there. But the thing is, a lot of people think that just because they're singing, there's no translation step. And a lot of people, they'll be stuck in their head of what they think they sound like, right? Yes. They'll be thinking they think they sound like Usher. Meanwhile, they sound like Ice JJ Fish. You know what I'm saying?
What?
you got to be able to hear yourself and record yourself and give yourself that honest feedback and hang around people who actually tell you, hey, yo, you could really kind of be a little better.
Absolutely.
But if you're surrounded with the right people, or if you are good discernment of like, you can look in the mirror and really know what's going on with yourself, then you're good. But really, it's critique, either self-critique or peer critique, and then practice. You gotta put, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put up 100 shots in the gym. You gotta get 100 reps in, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just chill.
Yeah. That's interesting because, you know, I always talk to many artists, obviously, as you know, with the episodes, and I had a conversation at one point. We always talk about transcribing. So it's like, you know, what you're talking about. Some people are like, oh, I don't need to listen or study that other person. It's like, and I always talk about it because there are some things, even my vocal coach would always tell me, like, don't sing a song that you're not comfortable with if you haven't mastered it. Like, you know, and so, you know, people will say, can you sing this Ella Fitzgerald song? Can you sing Etta James? It's like, if I haven't mastered it, Whitney Houston. It's like, these are, you know, people at a different level, whether they're here or not, gone tomorrow, I still respect.
That's the pantheon.
Yeah.
Those are the best. Those are the goats.
You don't mess up those songs. Like, if I haven't mastered it, I'm not about to sit up here and try to be just like letting you know that I can sing. I don't have to prove anything, you know, but when you sing something like that, you do have to prove something, you know?
Oh, exactly. It's almost disrespectful.
I like that what you guys do with the collective, the community, is that you have these networking events. I'm sharing a picture of now of your last. Was this the one on the 27th most recently?
Yes.
Okay. So talk to us about Oaktown Soul and the networking brunches and how you guys obviously come together in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an idea that Sean has had in his back pocket for, God, like 4 or 5 years. He's been talking about this for such a long time, about how he wanted to do like a conference or an event where people could meet each other, because in the Bay Area, there's so many talented people, but everybody will reach out to us, being a label and a studio, helping people out with their early projects. They'll go, yo, I need a videographer, or do you know somebody who does choreography, or do you know anybody who does makeup, or, you know, like, you can't do it alone and you need to work with other industry professionals. But there's nowhere for everybody to really meet each other. And if we're honest, the Bay can be super clicked up. Like, if we're really honest about it. And it doesn't make sense, because you get clicked up and everybody is like splitting up and fighting over crumbs, when it's like, yo, if you got a tomato, I got pasta, he has garlic, like, all of us are going to be starving alone. But if we come together and put our ingredients together, we could have a pretty good meal. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Atlanta, they all work together, and that's how they eat. New York, they all work together. That's how they eat. LA, they all work together. But the Bay Area, we're very segmented. So with this event, we're hoping to just like break down borders, bring everybody in, get all the creatives, and really get people to start doing like business deals. Like, I was walking through there and I was like, you need to meet you. I'm making y'all book a session right in front of me. I want to see y'all work. I want you to send me the stuff. If it's good, I'll promote it. And then also, like you said, it's always the education piece. This last brunch that we just had in August, we had a panel on sync for sync placements, which is just like such a good way for artists to be able to make big money off of their stuff, like actual money, not just, you know, streaming. And yeah, so people really loved the panel. It was an hour long. We had the content supervisor, one of the senior content supervisors of 2K was there. Our guy, Nick Minetti, who owned Proper One Music Library, who syncs the vast majority of our stuff. And then we also had one of our artists, Domine, who's had some success in sync. And then also a friend of ours, Krita, who has also had some success with Jared on 2K. So it was a great panel. And yeah, we just serve brunch, mimosas, get everybody, you know what I'm saying, loosen up, hanging out, and just trying to exchange contacts and, you know, really make some money happen here.
Incredible. I mean, how does one, of course, obviously we know following your platform, but how does one get involved in a brunch like this? I know Max had announced it was it the week before? Is that basically you just kind of DM you guys or reach out?
Yeah, so we are right now, we're pretty open about it. It is invite only, so you do have to get the link. We're open to people reaching out to us though and saying, hey, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Can I get access? Da, da, da. The only reason is because we really want to make sure that the people are coming are people who are either really working really serious or it's aspiring. People who are wanting to spend money, invest in their craft.
Yeah.
People who are trying to practice or trying to learn. You know, with this last event, once everybody left, I went outside, I was packing stuff up, and it was still a crew of like 15 rappers outside, all just ciphering. You know what I'm saying? Like it was hanging out in the Bronx. You know, so people who are really hungry, who really wanna practice their craft. So yeah, just not to say it's no beef to anybody, but it's not just a party, it's not just a random brunch. If you don't do anything in the industry, whether it be video, photo, websites, marketing, press, an artist yourself, an instrumentalist, we just want to make sure that everybody there is really able to connect with somebody. So we try to keep the quality up. But yes, so DM us, or you know, if you know somebody who's on the team, reach out. And yeah, and we're looking forward to next year launching hopefully a much larger, almost conference style version of the event. But we'll see where that comes and when it comes. Stay tuned for that. But for now, yeah, we got the monthly, and yeah, we want to see everybody come out and just, you know, hopefully learn some. This next month, we're about to have a panel on women in the industry, and you know, just how they got to where they're at, and you know, what their individual projects are. So we're hopefully going to be able to highlight a few people from our community.
I love that, and I love that again, the knowledge, and again the community. And obviously going in when it comes to education, but yes, making sure that people are worthy, because it's not just a, you know, a big party kind of thing. I mean, this obviously was very well put together. You know, you see a lot of people. It's functional, you know, which is very important. I'm big on energy. So yeah, I think it's very crucial. Obviously, you're screening people, you know, to make sure everybody that's coming together it's a cohesive type of event. So you mentioned something too when you're talking about aspiring people, and I always go in a little bit, especially for the people coming even behind you and me, you know, those coming fresh out of high school and college, even that have no budget, you know, but have great talent. What would you say to an artist that wants to be a part of something this major? Wants to prove themselves and send, you know, art in or share with you, but again, just doesn't have the money to put something together. I mean, what would you say to someone like that?
I mean, honestly, the first thing I would say is there's no such thing as not having budget. Withholding extreme circumstances in life and whatever, you have to choose to invest in yourself. And it's like, it's easy to say, I don't have any budget, but then there's always budget for some extra shoes. There's always budget for Netflix. There's always budget for Hulu. There's always budget for XYZ, right? Like, there's always budget for that extra eating out that wasn't in the budget.
I was just gonna say McDonald's, yeah.
So the first thing is you got to invest in yourself, and it's not necessarily about paying me or paying anybody else, but you know, Sean, Max, and I were able to build this studio simply out of all of us buying our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? And Sean, being the oldest of the three of us and a big brother to me, kind of showed me the value of investing in your equipment, investing in your stuff. But yeah, I was a student working part-time, commuting back and forth to Pittsburgh to Oakland for school and work and whatnot, and doing that and doing an hour and a half one way, hour and a half back, full work shift. And I still found time and money to take aside to go, yo, I need to buy a new mouthpiece for my saxophone. I need to buy a computer. I need to upgrade my computer. Blah, da, 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 blah, da, 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 right? So it's just, you got to scrape up that change. You got to figure out what you can put aside. And at first it'll be small. But for example, one of my first jobs I ever had in music was I had a phenomenal mentor, DJ Fuse, who worked with Digital Underground, knew Tupac back in the day. Great guy, taught me how to DJ, right? And so once I learned how to DJ from him, I said, well, how can I make money off of this? And he said, well, you buy two 15-inch speakers, you buy some mics, and you buy a DJ controller. you can get out there and you can start DJing. So I bought
Yes.
all the stuff. I bought all the mics. I bought me a table. He told me what to get. And I took that and I just started working it and I started hustling it. And soon enough, that $600 I had spent on them speakers, I made back in like 2-3 gigs. You know what I'm saying? And then I paid back the turntables, and then I paid back the table. And by the time I had quit the DJ game, I had made so much more than I'd ever invested in myself. And then I took that money, bought more equipment, and now I have enough equipment where it's like between me and my partners coming together, putting our equipment together, we have a top of the line studio, and we can really say like, no, you got to pay premium to get in here and work with our stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is not to say, you know, it's not to say whatever, but yo, if you invest in yourself, you can charge a premium, and that's how you make money. You spend money to make money is like an important principle that rich people understand, but us growing up broke, a lot of us think you save money or you don't spend money. And the thing is, there's always money to be spent. So, you know, to anybody that says, I don't have a budget, I'd say find one, get creative, save it up, go find an extra side hustle, sell something, you know what I'm saying? Figure it out and bust, you know what I'm saying? There's something you can do to come up with some change to invest in yourself. And if you can't come up with any change to invest in yourself, there's probably something you're more passionate about, because that's what you're spending your money on.
Talk about it. Woo. And that's serious. That's like real talk, because people will come up with money for everything else. And I had someone ask me before, you know, not that, you know, I'm not a cheerful giver, but, you know, I also have obviously goals myself. And I told them, like, you have like these very expensive tires on your car, you know, like sell the tires and just get basic tires. Like if the tires are worth $3,000, you know, you could just get basic tires. He looked at me like I was crazy, you know, but I'm like, sell your big screen, you know? So yeah, there's a lot of things that we could sell. This is during the time, of course, that I like, of course, when I deal with artists, composers, lyricists, songwriters, I go into wordplay.
Okay.
I picked some words for you. And no right or wrong, King, just whatever comes first to mind when I say these words. You ready?
Okay, born ready.
Yes. First word, humility.
Everything. Humility is my number one, it's my number one moral thing that I really strive for. Yes. Now, I'm not going to say I'm the most humble person in the world, and it's definitely something I fight with at times, because it's a double-edged sword, right? If you lean too deep into humility, it can become self-deprecation and self-loathing. And if you lean too far away from it, it becomes arrogance, and it becomes, you know, just not being grounded in truth, right? So you got to find that middle ground. But I think it's everything, especially when you're talking about music, to not overestimate yourself and to always know that there's something you could do to be better, you know? Because these people who innovated on the art form, these people who came and did something that's never been done before, if they looked at what the rubric was of like, oh, this is satisfactory, once they reached it, they would have been done. But they said, I don't care what anybody else has done. I know how great I can be, right? Yes. And I know that no matter how much somebody's looking at me and telling me you're the greatest of all time, you can go, but I still have so much more to learn, right? Yeah. And so that's how you look and you find Andre 3000s, who completely changed the way people flow, completely changed the way people rap, one of the most phenomenal spitters of all time. And now he's sitting over here learning flute somewhere because he's humble enough to say, yo, even though I was like one of the best rappers of all time and still am and still can kill them, I'm going to chill and I'm going to learn flute and I'm going to learn how to be a family man. And you know what I'm saying? So there's always a next chapter. There's always the next thing. None of us are too good to learn or to get better. And if you think you're too good to learn and get better, you're never going to be the best. So if you want to be great, you really got to learn how to be humble and accept that you're not great if you want to be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Next word, foundation.
Foundation. It's what you build everything upon, right? And when we're talking about like having a budget, for example, I think one thing that's like good to add to that conversation is, yeah, you do need a strong foundation. And if you talk about it, you know, a lot of people talk about this, like pull yourself up by the bootstraps type of thing. And to be fair, people have different foundations, right? Some people just have families that can pay for their everything.
Yeah.
Some people are just born with different cards. Some people have kids, some kids, people don't, you know what I'm saying? So there's different foundations to step upon. So it's really important for you, if you have the space and time to build yourself a foundation, do it. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, as long as I possibly could be patient to stay with my family and to accept the blessing of a foundation I was given of just a place to stay, I was able to really choose to be broke, to be yo, over here, I'm gonna spend every cent I have on my business. I don't care. I'm gonna go get EBT and I'm gonna get my groceries like this. But every cent that comes in, I'm gonna buy something new. I'm gonna spend on my staff. I'm gonna because now, as those years run out, right? That foundation, that blessing that I've been given, now I've built a foundation of a company that can pay me forever. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'd rather be hungry now and eat later and know that my food's coming than to just, you know, get filled up today and be hungry tomorrow. So really, like with the budget thing, if you have a moment in your life to get up and create something for yourself that you can stand upon later, do it. Don't waste that shit on whatever else. So yeah, I say foundation and stability is like hand in hand. You need both of them. You need to be grounded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I picked that up a lot, just, you know, kind of going through, and obviously in this brief time of connecting with you, just diving in to who you are. And I just, you know, obviously can feel that, like I said, with the energy that you're given, the vibe, listening to your sound. There's some people, when I listen to some of their music, and singers included, that don't even speak English, but I'm feeling like I know what they're saying because I'm feeling what they're giving off. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I say just listening to the language of your music, it speaks from a place of soul and foundation and everything. Obviously, we're talking.
Thank you.
Just amazing. And the last word, of course, I came up with for you is visionary.
Visionary, interesting. There's this brand that popped to mind as soon as you said that, which is called World Envision, or it almost looks like World Invasion, and they take out some letters. This is Black-owned brand, and I wear one of their shirts a lot that people always comment when I wear it. It says "Trust in your vision." And you know, first of all, just shout out to a Black-owned brand because
absolutely.
But yeah, it is. I see somebody who's a visionary is nothing else but somebody who really just believes in themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like you could call it all type of things, but we were just talking about this, and I was having a long philosophical conversation with Sean the other day, and I said, honestly, without getting into all of my beliefs and whatever, because it's very complicated, but I said, honestly, I don't know what it is, but when I follow what I know to be true, for me personally, I've never been wrong. Or not, I've never been wrong. This is the conversation we just had, but I can't remember a time that when I really trust what I know to be true, and not just like I'm always right type of thing, but when you get that feeling, that urge, that calling that you like, I know this thing is true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To follow that, right? And so just I knew when I was a kid in math class, I used to hear like symphonies in my head, and at the time I was like, man, this is just like whatever. Like I could never get over there and do that. You know what I'm saying? But the more I just believed in it, and I was in the back of band class, like I was not the best kid in band or in jazz band by far. I was mediocre. I was middle back of the pack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I definitely still showed up. I was not the best there, but I still knew in my head, I said, like, I hear music differently than everybody in here. I know it. And if I stick with it, down the line, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people who I was with in high school band, clearly have quit, gone on to do other things. And I'm seeing myself way past them at like the finish line, at least in music, just because I trusted in my vision. So yeah, definitely you gotta believe in yourself. And it's a manifestation conversation we had earlier.
Absolutely.
Which is just like, you can't do anything you don't believe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, you're not, as soon as you know that Santa Claus isn't real, you know what I'm saying? You're not sending letters anymore. Nobody's sending letters to somebody they don't think exists, and you're not investing in a life you don't believe you can make for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you gotta believe it first.
Yeah, and I say that all the time as far as just like in here, like you really have to, somebody said years ago to me, like you have to be like literally and not 5150 crazy, but like wild visionary crazy, because in order to see something that other people don't see physically, like I have to see it already in fruition. Like I've already seen it, I've touched it, I'm smiling like crazy, and you're wondering like, what is wrong with you? I'm seeing my blessing, I'm seeing the outcome already, you know. Yep. And you have to be there. You know, I don't know how to tell people to get there, because even sometimes, like we were talking earlier, I said sometimes I can get distracted, and it's like something trying to take me out of that space. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, let me go back where I was, because I was happy in there, like seeing the whole picture, you know. And I think if many people would try to dive in and go into a peaceful state, there would be a lot more happiness, you know, and less, obviously, you know, mental health issues and things like that. Because it starts obviously with what people are seeing physically, and then what they, you know, social media has a lot to do with it. You know, it's unfortunately, it's where social media has gone. I mean, we're here right now, we're on a platform, and it's a blessing, but it's also a curse, you know. So we have to be very strong mentally. And how do you maintain your peace, King? Like when you get, you know, to a place where you need to kind of regroup, what do you do?
I mean, the honest answer is I don't do it enough. If I'm real.
Okay.
So that's the first thing, because I am not holier than thou or anything. I'm not going to preach what I don't practice. So that's the first thing. But for me, what definitely does help is I've been having talks with the team. It's just like one of the number one things is just rest. You know, that we should just all rest, and that it's better to work. I prefer to work efficiently than to work hard. Like if I'm not getting stuff done, I'd rather just be at home. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I just hang up the towel for the day. Sometimes I come in and I go, y'all, it's been 3 hours. I can't focus. I need to go take a nap. I'm going to try again tomorrow. And then I go crazy tomorrow and do 3 days of work. So that's one of the things. I'm a super nerd. So on my off days, I love to just like play video games and hang out, chill at the house, rest, sleep, whatnot have you. But yeah, that's really it. I just like to relax and whatnot. What I need to get back into for my health is definitely meditation. I used to be a super meditation nerd, and that helped me out a lot. But between meditation, rest, eating good, cooking good food for the soul, and you know what I'm saying, that definitely grounds me. But I need to do it more. I need more of it. So again, still always, like I said, humility, always space to grow. You know what I'm saying?
I'm there with you. I mean, you know, like I said, not perfect, but I will say, you know what I am perfect at, King? You know, accessibility, not allowing everyone to have access to me. I used to not be, you know, a master at it, but now it's like it's a little easier. And God rest my grandmother, before she passed away, she said, you don't let everybody just in, like just have access. Like I really protect that, because it's so sacred. And I've worked for companies and got to spaces where it you know, that mental health stuff, like it was toxic environments. And so I had to like come out of certain places, and it just made me be like that with everything, and not in a mean type of way, but just making sure I'm first when it comes to my mental health. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, you know, your brother said, get some rest. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to turn it in tonight. You know, you're going to come back tomorrow or the next day. Sometimes it's okay to get 2 days worth of rest.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I think people can relate, and it's refreshing. So let me ask you this. What's the most important, and this is a very important question. I always tell people these questions are very important that I select for you. Which aisle is your favorite in the grocery store?
For me, I'll say produce.
Really?
I always try to buy a new fruit or veggie that I've never tried every week. I try to buy an ingredient. That's like a little game I play with myself. I try to buy an ingredient I've never bought before, and I just figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I might look up some recipes for inspiration, but usually when I go to the grocery store, I kind of I focus on the ingredients, and then afterwards when I get home, I look at it and it's like a puzzle. It's like, what could I make out of these things that I bought? You know, I just bought this new type of fruit that I've never tried. What would that go with that I have tried? Or, you know, the other week, I've never really cooked leeks before. So I bought some leeks. Been trying out artichokes, and I'm not fully vegetarian, but
I was just gonna ask you that.
I eat mostly vegetables and mostly vegetarian. Definitely not vegan because I love cheese. I love that. But meat is kind of a rare thing for me, but I'm not opposed to it. So it's just mostly vegetables. I just like mostly vegetables.
Would you say you're a pescatarian? I mean, you eat fish, or you would prefer to eat more?
Mostly vegetables. It's just mostly. It's not that. It's you know, like I will eat a little taste, or if something looks good, I'll never starve myself to not eat meat, right? And I'll never, if it's like, yo, here's this really healthy salad that has some meat in it, or you could go to Burger King and get some fries. It's like the healthier option is better. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just going to not eat meat to hurt myself, right? So it's just, if it looks really good, if I'm traveling and, you know, there's some stuff I've never tried before or whatever, but to the general, most weeks, I'm only ever buying vegetables and stuff when I go to the store. But yeah, produce for me would be my favorite aisle.
My mom turned me on to leeks recently, and they're pretty good.
Right.
I love cooking with vegetables too. I think I'm a pretty good cook. You know, I like portobello mushrooms and eggplant and things like that. I cook with a lot of red onion. You know, red onion is my go-to. You know.
Yeah, I love salads. Salads are my go-to.
Oh, ranch or Italian?
Ranch, easy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, not on salad, but just in general, if I want a sauce, I dip fries in my ranch. If I'm having a chicken wing, that's going in there. Whatever, I love ranch.
Ooh, on everything.
Yeah, ranch is, I prefer, I think ketchup is a mad overrated sauce. Ranch goes with hella stuff. Ketchup is weak. Barbecue is overhyped.
Wait a minute now. I put ketchup on everything. I used to put ketchup on burritos.
Nah, that's a no. That's a no. That's not a ketchup.
Ketchup is I have to have ketchup for my eggs. Ketchup, ketchup is very important.
Ketchup is overhyped. You know what I'm saying? Ranch needs some more shine as a condiment.
I think it depends on what kind of ketchup you're using. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm showing a video in the back. He's like, please, we can go on this for hours. Okay. I'm showing a visual in the back from a post you had shared, and I find it interesting because, of course, you talked about, swinging between fairyland music, of course, and demon hours. So between. Elaborate on that, because I know which sound you're talking about for the evening, like, horror films and that deep, groggy I love it, honestly, but go ahead and talk about this.
Yeah, I have so many different influences and like listening to so many different types of music that and I'm really just a fan of studying genres. I like switching up and doing some entirely different stuff. So it's like my stuff is all over the map. It takes a while, and I'm still trying to find the way to really establish my sound. Like Max and Sean, they could hear a track, and because they know me so well, no matter what it is, they'll know if I made it, right?
Yeah.
But it can be hard sometimes to brand a sound that swings between like the super dark stuff and the super light stuff. I actually used to, like, one of the early big gigs that I got in music was for a while I was composing custom music for the podcast Spooked, which Snap Judgment does, that's on NPR and whatnot. And so it's horror stories with got to be scored underneath. And so I've done, like, the bulk majority of the scoring work I've done is like horror. So I have that in my back pocket where it's like I can make these really scary chords and stuff. But as a person, like, I'm pretty friendly, can be somewhat bubbly, can be somewhat serious type of dude, depending on what type of mood you catch me in. But I'm pretty playful, so I like that stuff. Like, another one of my huge inspirations is, like, I love like Japanese composers for, like, old anime movies, like My Neighbor Totoro, and just, like, cute cartoony stuff. I love animation, so I swing between that heavier side and that. But I'm really all over the map. Sometimes I make reggae, sometimes I make Afro beats, sometimes I'll make a random house beat. It just depends on what mood I'm in. But that's what one of the things I've been working on over the past year or so is, like, even though I can do everything, what do I present? And if you see and been watching, following me recently, now I'm really presenting, like, I make these kind of certain type of beats, and I compose. Can I do more? Sure. But, like, this is what I'm really going to say. Like, this is what I want y'all to know me for.
Well, I was listening to a lot, and what I noticed, because obviously, coming into the intro today, I'm really big on, some of a lot of piano, orchestra, even going back to, like, I'll go all the way back to, like, the 20s, on some stuff in classical music. So talk to me about your love, speaking of composing, and your love for those types of sounds, because I hear it a lot in your music.
I love, I would say I'm not a minimalist. I would say I'm the opposite. I'm a maximalist. I love big sweeping orchestras and stuff. And I mean, part of it is, I was in band in high school, right? So even more, I was in jazz band for a little bit, but really I was in orchestra. I was playing, like, bassoon, and I was in all these, I played sax with my first instrument for a minute in high school. I thought I was going to go to conservatory to play classical music or bassoon and stuff. That's where I thought I was going, and then didn't end up being the case. But so I love that stuff. I actually don't watch movies a lot, but I always listen to soundtracks, which is like a weird thing. There are movies that I've never seen that I know their soundtrack like the back of my hand. It's funny, I just wasn't raised on movies like that, but I love that stuff. And like I said, video games, I play a lot of video games, love video game music and the worlds they build. And it's something you said earlier about, when you were talking about it, you were talking about people, like, singing in other languages and not knowing what they're saying, but still feeling the emotion. What I always loved about jazz when I was doing jazz, or making beats when I was making beats, or just listening to these soundtracks, is instrumental music. There's no vocal, so it's you can't listen to the tone of their voice to guess the emotion. You can't listen to the words they're telling you to tell you what the story is. So you have to be vivid. You have to be really vivid, and it leaves it open for, like, interpretation for sure. Which I enjoy. But it's like, if you want somebody to feel sad, you gotta paint that without saying sad things or singing sad things or singing in a sad way, right? Or if you want somebody to be happy, you have to paint that. There's only 12 notes. So the ability to take those 12 notes and flip them, do whatever to really show an emotion, depending on what instruments you pick, that's what really, like, inspires me about orchestration, inspires me about instrumental music, is just I like conveying emotion, showing, not telling. You know what I'm saying? Without the voice.
Well, because music is what, feelings sound like, so.
Exactly.
And you're literally, you're nailing it, it's just like when you hear the dun, 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 dun. It can be very graphic. It can be like, really slow. Again, it's funny because I don't read music at all. I don't know what happened there. I just never, it's funny because I learned a little bit early on in life, and then I literally just forgot. So I'm really, everything is obviously by ear. It's not to say I won't ever go back into it and, and get educated on it, but I don't. So I find it fascinating when I come across people like yourselves. A few of my producers I also work with who are heavily educated in mastering music theory. You talk a lot about it when you're educating, again, on your platform. One of the conversations most recently, you spoke about using melody on chord progressions when it comes to inversions and voice leading. Elaborate on that some.
Yeah, one thing that I hear happen a lot with beginners is they'll just learn how to play a chord and they'll only learn how to play it one way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just it. It's just you play the chord, that's the one way you know how to play it, and then it's whatever. Yeah. But it becomes this jumping around the piano, where it's if you learn how to play a chord 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different ways, there's slight different variations on it, you can start to make yourself very smooth in the way that you use your chords. And also just they all have a different flavor, right?
Uh-huh.
A chord in one inversion might sound happier than the same chord in a different inversion, and it could make a whole different thing. So especially if you're somebody who cares about instrumental music, like I was saying,
yeah,
like I said, there's only 12 notes. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, all of our stuff breaks down to 12 notes. So you need as many tools in your toolkit to be able to paint emotion. If you only know how to play a chord one way, it's like only knowing one emotion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you can play it a whole bunch of different type of ways, you can build melodies in, you can make it feel one way, you can make it feel another way. So it's really important to just learn how to do everything more than just one type of way.
Yeah, I love that. And one of your fans, of course, said that chord progression sent me straight to church, so.
Got a little bit in there, a little bit of church.
So tell me this, if you were able to tell yourself, because obviously you've come a long way, you're doing well, obviously the sky's the limit for yourself, for the collective, OakTownSoul and everything you guys are doing. If you could go back and tell yourself one thing, obviously as a kid, in your youth, whether it be junior high or high school, what would you tell yourself?
Just don't trip. Believe yourself. You know what I'm saying? I think I've wasted a lot of time knowing that I was right about stuff and going, well, I don't have the evidence for that, or I can't prove that, or how would I convince somebody that? Finding out that it's like, your intuition was really right for me. Now I don't tell everybody to do that because some people's intuition ain't right. You know what I'm saying? But for me at least, it would really be just trust yourself. You know what I'm saying? Besides that, I wouldn't tell myself anything because I would want myself to still figure it out. At this point in my life, I've definitely had my fair share of trials and tribulations, but I wouldn't trade them for anything because then I just wouldn't be me and who I am today. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's crucial for me to have gone through what I went through. And I would just say, don't trip, keep going. And you know what I'm saying? Believe yourself when you know you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the best advice that someone has given you thus far that you hold on to?
Oh man, the best advice. I've gotten so much good advice. The one that's coming to mind, I don't know if it's necessarily the best advice, but it was definitely a big thing for me early on. Was this is actually indirect advice. It was somebody had given advice to a friend of mine, and he told me that said advice. But I believe it was the trumpeter Sean Jones who plays a lot out here, phenomenal jazz trumpet player. And he was playing with the SF Jazz Collective, and he was talking to my buddy, and he was asking him, just as a beginner high school musician to a professional musician, like, well, how do you get there? And he started with, well, how many hours do you play a week? And he said, well, I don't know, 10, 20, something like that. How many hours is a full-time job? 40. Okay, so how do you expect to make a living if you ain't even working a full-time job? And that was just like a crazy point to me, which is just a lot of people don't realize the amount of work it takes. And really, music is a double time job.
It is.
I work 15, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, most weeks. You know what I'm saying? It's not a 9 to 5, it's a 9 to 9. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes a 9 to midnight. So you got to work really hard. And I think just understanding that way that he phrased it, which is if a full-time living is 40 hours a week and you're not even there, and that's when somebody else is paying for your bills. That's when somebody else is giving you a paycheck. You don't have to go get that paycheck yourself, right?
Yeah.
If that's that, you got to be at least hitting those numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was some super good advice to me early on that made me open my eyes and go, oh, shit, I got to get off my ass.
Yeah, like I'm just sitting here like, shit, well, 40 hours, I don't think I did. I probably maybe did, maybe 15 this week, just on my own. I'm like calculating like, woo, okay, well, that's the best advice I've heard in a long time. I love it.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good. Well, in closing, I'm not going to keep you all night. Of course, I know there's so much to talk about. I'm going to save some, obviously, for when we come back, you know. Yes, absolutely. But I want to say, well done, first and foremost, just where you are thus far, individually and collectively. I am very impressed. Not that it matters, but I mean, I am.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, very impressive musician, you know, instrumentalist. You know, just you guys are filled with, of course, just a massive community, and it obviously can only go, you know, continue to go higher. So I appreciate you for taking the time tonight, and me speaking with Max the other day and having a quick second with Sean. I know we're all going to come together, and I'm just thankful just for you taking the time, because as you're talking, you do work a lot, and I know you're super busy. So I am humbled that you would give me this time to pick your brain a little bit and just talk about your journey so far. So tell everybody that is getting to know you tonight where they can find you, Instagram, Twitter, any of your platforms that we don't know about. Shoot them out, please.
Yep. Clay Xavier is the name. Look me up on Instagram, same name, Clay Xavier, and the team. The label is OakTownSoul, available on all platforms. If you look up OakTownSoul, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. And the music is out there too. So if you look up OakTownSoul on the web, you'll find us. But also if you go to our page, we have all our music linked there. The song you played at the beginning was Wait by Shante.
Yes.
Go look up Shante on all streaming platforms. She's phenomenal. It's a great song. Yeah, and just, you know, reach out if you do connect with me. I might take me a couple days to respond, or if I miss your first message, hit me again, but I definitely want to connect with everybody, and I'm pretty open and not exclusionary. I love to have conversations with everybody.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, King. And if you are watching this right now, obviously it is up on the Face Behind the Brand YouTube channel. So go ahead and click that subscribe button if you are not, of course, a subscriber, because obviously, as you see here, you just have witnessed greatness. Episode 136 with Clay Xavier, OakTownSoul Record Label Collective. Amazing kings, amazing queens as far as the artists are concerned. Just an incredible, incredible collective right here in the Bay Area. So thank you again so much tonight. I appreciate you all for watching. Peace.